Hey, today I want to talk about details in photography. And I want to concentrate on the latter part of the photography process, when we edit and print our pictures. I mean, there's a lot of details that we need to deal with when we shoot photographs, when we take them. But today we will concentrate on printing and editing. And like in anything that we do, the deeper we get, the more we learn about the thing, the more we start to see details, understand the details. You know, whether that's music or photography, if I learn to play an instrument, I'm first pretty happy when I can lay down the melody, a simple melody. But the more I advance, I start to hear and understand chord progressions and ghost notes and all other kind of details. Same with photography. I might first be pretty pleased to take a picture of a sunset. You know, isn't that a gorgeous picture? But then as I progress, I start to see nuances which I didn't even recognize earlier, that are either lacking or are too visible in my pictures. And then dealing with these nuances, learning them and understanding how to manage them, both in music and photography, makes me a better artist and makes what I produce more interesting to the viewer or to the listener. But I can also go too far. Like I remember back in the days, I used to play in studios. And you know, sometimes we as musicians, we may be laying down a track for an artist, you know, playing his or her song. But then we had a break and we just wanted to have a few minutes for ourselves, and we end up playing some fusion jazz or something that we found interesting. And it's all about details and runs and technical aspects. And there was this guy in the studio who said that may be fun to play, but it's painful to listen. And I think as a photographer, I also gone to the same sort of rat hole that I so much concentrate on details that I forget the big picture. So details. What are details? What are not the details in photography? Typically we would say that the subject and what's happening in the picture, those are not details. But then the details are things like grain or shadow details, highlights, you know, with terms that a regular person wouldn't even recognize. But then it depends on the picture. Sometimes what in another picture may be detail become a major point in another picture. Let me show you two examples. Here's a photograph where I claim that the shadow details, meaning that how much you can see details in the dark, in this snowstorm, in these dark parts of the picture, are what makes this picture. And almost to the extent that this guy, who somebody might say is the subject of this picture, is almost irrelevant. Now here's another night picture that I worked recently for an entire day to get this right. It also has shadow details, especially here in the middle, and I work really a long time to get as much detail out of this picture, out of this negative to this picture. This is a very strongly pushed image. Ilford HP5 Plus pushed to 12,800, so there is not a lot of details in the negative, but I wanted to get them all out and I worked really hard on the central part. But I'm not sure if that was that important. It does not make or break this image. There are much more important things like this light here and her looking up the light and this wall. But I concentrated on this part only. So it's not clear what is a detail and what is not. There's no universal truth. It depends on the picture. Therefore, I thought I'll show you, just to illustrate my current thinking, as this channel is all about, it's my current thinking, it's my journey into photography and what I'm thinking right now. These are no facts. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but this is what's on my mind right now. And these details are on my mind right now. And let me show you a few examples where I made different decisions on details. And yeah, just to show you. Now here's a picture of a boat that I printed. And I have 3 versions with different levels of details printed, with different considerations. First, I made a picture with a lot of details. This is a Foam 112 paper. It's a fibre-based matte paper. I love this paper. It's my favorite currently. Details here down in the boat and all the clouds and all that. Also making sure that there are some highlights and all that. I spent a lot of time getting this right. And then I look at it and I was not sure. So I wanted to make another trial and I made less details with more contrast. So I'm losing some details here. But I'm making, that's my opinion, this picture more powerful now that it has less details. It now forces or helps the viewer to pay attention to the things that I want him or her to pay attention to. And then I went even further. I took a different paper. This is Ilford MG Art 300 paper. This is really a high-end, expensive paper, and it has this eggshell type of surface. So not only with the more contrast did I hide some details, but this paper also hides details as it has very strong paper structure. And I'm not sure which one I like more, but here is even less details. So to me these are totally different pictures, and it's all about hiding details. Bringing out just right amount of details that I think that are important. I can also make and emphasize details. Here are a couple of examples. Here's another boat picture. First I made this version. I like it, there's nothing wrong with it. But there's not a lot of details and I wanted to add details. So I made another print where I now have clouds in the sky. There was enough information in the negative that now that I kept on burning the sky for the longest time, I started to get clouds. So in the previous example with the previous boat, I was hiding details. Here I'm inviting details, I'm emphasizing details. I mean, of course, these clouds are a detail. This boat is what's all about here. Here's another example of details, a bit similar. This favorite tree of mine. Once again, nothing wrong with this picture, but I can almost create details. Not almost, I artificially created vignetting. It's a detail in this picture that makes it look different now that I created the vignetting. And it's a matter of me as an artist to say which one I like first, but dealing with these details. I created 2 different images and now, should I say, mastering this detail job and detailing, I can create different atmospheres and different images. One more. Here are both details emphasized and hidden. So I made the sky totally white. All the details taken away from the sky. But then I wanted to make sure that the detail of this horizon line is visible and some details of the snowy ground in the foreground. So once again, it's all about the details. The subject is this tree, it's fairly powerful, but I strongly claim that without the attention to these details, this picture would be much less interesting than it is right now. Now, so both emphasizing and hiding details, in my opinion, that's okay if it serves the image, if it makes the image more interesting. But when dealing with details in my books is not okay if it's just about bragging rights. About look how I can get all the details out. Look how I can make my highlights pop. Anything that would have the word I as a photographer in the description of the picture is off-putting. It should be about the photograph, not about me as a photographer, not about my skills, but about making this picture better. So it's all about details, and not all details are born equal. And on that, once again, it's good to end. Thanks for watching. Next time, something else.